Well, they say, Joy, you should never overreact to game one of a series. It's easier in baseball because sometimes you just have a great pitcher and nobody can hit him. But in basketball, first game of a series, Spoelstra's a great coach. He'll make changes. But there are two big issues for the Miami Heat, and I don't see these two issues changing. One, they're falling apart. Dragic is hurt. And number two is this is a bad matchup. Let's just start with Bam Adebayo, Miami. He's a nice young player, averaged 16 and 10 in the regular season. Against Boston, he looks like a great player. He averaged 22 a game. This is who he is. No, that's who he is against Boston, guarding Daniel Tice, where he can concentrate and be much more profound and dynamic on the offensive end because he doesn't have much of a defensive assignment. Now Bam has to guard AD and occasionally LeBron, which will mean more fouls, sap more energy, and he will not be the offensive player he was in the Boston series. This matchup is not changing. He's a kid. He's 23. LeBron and AD are not kids. They're going to go after him the entire series and should, because it will take his offense away. This is a problem. The Lakers' front line is huge. 6'10 AD, 6'10 Dwight Howard, 6'9 LeBron. They can bring in JaVale McGee. They are big and long and powerful and veterans. Miami's front line is 6'7 Duncan Robinson, who's a perimeter player, 6'6 Jay Crowder, and 6'9 Bam, who's a baby. They're going to have to play guys they don't necessarily want to play in this series. This matchup issue, Bam is a good young player. He averaged 16 a game. That's what he is. 22 against the Celtics, a very small team that scores most of their points on the wing and in the backcourt, is a different matchup. Boston was a very good matchup. This is a very bad matchup for the Heat and Bam. Here's the other thing. Dragic is now hurt. Oh, brother. And Jimmy Butler can get you 30 a night, but you're going to have to score 110 to 115 to win this series. Let's make it a math problem. Take out Jimmy's 30. Who's giving you the other 80? Because Bam's not dropping 22 a night in this series. He'll be down to 15, 16, 17 because his defensive assignments are going to be so rigorous. Can you imagine waking up? Who are you guarding tonight? LeBron and AD, and you're 23. So the issue is Dragic is hurt. So you're not getting offense there. Bam's defensive assignments are tougher. You're not going to get huge offensive consistent output there. You need Tyler Hero to play. And he is a defensive liability. You don't have a choice now. You need threes. You need somebody that can shoot. Tyler Hero's got to play because he's one of the great young shooters in the game. I mean, there are times he looks like Steph. I'm not saying he's Steph, but he's a great young shooter. And he's a defensive liability. Lakers go right after him. Lakers are a bunch of old veteran players. They know the game. They know the sport. They don't have a lot of young players. They're going to go right after Tyler Hero. When he's on the floor, he is a defensive problem. But they've got to play him. It's a math problem. Jimmy Butler's giving you 25 to 30. Hopefully he doesn't have an off night. Where are you getting your points? You're not going to get them from Bam like Boston. You're not getting them from Dragic. He was invisible. Now he's hurt. You got to get him from Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, and both are defensive liabilities, especially Tyler. But you got to pick your poison here. You got to put him in, cross your fingers he hits his threes, and cross your fingers who he's guarding is not hot. Now, I don't think the Lakers will shoot like they did in the first half. Last night was one of those nights the Lakers and this is a Laker team, we can never figure out who's going to score beyond LeBron and AD, and last night everybody was hitting. KCP was hitting, Caruso was hitting, Danny Green was hitting. But that you got some issues here where it is a matchup problem. I mean, we watched Kansas City and Baltimore play on Monday. It's a matchup problem for Baltimore. It happens. The NBA, it's like fights. Mike Tyson was a bad fit with Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield could take a punch. He could play the angles on Mike. He could deliver punches with Mike. He would get inside Mike Tyson. They could fight 5 times. Evander Holyfield was a bad matchup for Mike Tyson. Baltimore, Kansas City's a bad matchup for him. Boston and Miami, Boston is so small, it allowed Bam, a young player, to flourish. Defensive assignments weren't that rigorous. Good luck waking up in the morning if you're 23 years old, having to guard AD and LeBron. And Frank Vogel saw it. And by the way, LeBron saw it after the game. He said, I can't wait. Just listen to what LeBron said after.
I think you can learn so much more from a win than you can in a loss. And I can't wait to get for tomorrow for us to get back together and watch the film and see ways we can be better.
Just keep pounding the ball to Anthony Davis, force Bam to have to guard Anthony and LeBron. It'll suck points away from his offensive game, and it's a problem. Here's the other advantage to the Lakers. I mean, when you watch like that kind of dominating performance, apathy sets in, right? Like the Lakers have to convince themselves for the next 3 games they play, we got to be mentally focused tonight or we cannot win. And now Dragic is hurt, and that plays with your head. Like, what can they do? But there's not going to be apathy in this series because the Lakers want to get the hell out of the bubble. You're not going to have your typical apathy in a series where you win the first 2 games, you go on the road, you mailed it. Lakers want to go home. Lakers are an old team. Lakers guys are married. Lakers guys got kids. There's going to be no apathy here. They want to get the hell out of the bubble, go back to Los Angeles, to their cribs in L.A. with beach views and their girlfriends, their wives, I don't see a sense of an apathy, which is always a problem when you have a Game 1 blowout, is you have to now convince the veteran team, these guys are really good. That was an aberration. I guarantee you the Heat. Now, I don't think the Lakers will shoot that well. I think Spoelstra's a great coach. I still think Miami wins a game or so in this series. But the matchups and now the mounting injuries, I think Miami's in trouble. I think they're in trouble. Chris Broussard now joining me, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. My friend Chris, Fox Sports NBA analyst. I know I'm not supposed to overreact to Game 1, Chris. I think they're huge matchup issues for the Heat. I'll just give you the one I talked about. Bam averaged 16 on the year. And against Boston, he averaged 22 because he didn't have much of a defensive assignment. That's a small front court. Against the Lakers, they're going to ask Bam to guard AD and LeBron. That is going to suck the energy out of him. There's going to be more fouls. And so I think Bam's going to be reduced offensively as a player. What does that mean? Outside of Jimmy Butler, who can you depend on? Tyler Herro's a huge defensive liability. I think Bam is going to have his hands full. It will suck the offense out of his game mostly. And I don't know if they can keep up with this big Laker front line. Your thoughts on if the series feels over?
Oh, it's over. It felt over before it started. I mean, I picked the Lakers in 5. You did a great job of kind of breaking down some of the nuances of what they face with Bam Adebayo, but you don't even have to really go that deeply. The Lakers have the 2 best players on the court by a mile. They've got more experience by a mile. They are the better team, period, the end. Bam Adebayo is Miami's big man. He's smaller than LeBron. And I don't just mean height. He might be an inch or so shorter. But look at Bam Adebayo. He's not skinny, but he's much smaller than LeBron. He's much smaller than Dwight Howard. He's much smaller than Anthony Davis. And that's what he has to contend with. And if his shoulder is bothering him, then he's really in trouble. And then you mentioned it. I mean, the young guys, Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson. God forbid if Goran Dragic is out. And now, as you said, if Bam is compromised, because as much as I like Herro and Duncan, they are not ready. Tyler Herro was playing high school basketball 2 years ago. They are not ready to be when the defense focuses on them, right? They're not ready to be game planned for. They're good playing off, when the defense is worried about Jimmy Butler and Bam and Goran Dragic. Okay, we're going to get ours because you're not really thinking about us. But when you start focusing on them because Dragic is hurt and Bam is compromised, they're not going to be able to deliver. They're just not ready for this moment yet. So the only question, Colin, is will this go more than 4 games? That's it as far as the competitiveness of this series.
What does it say about the Eastern Conference? We always knew the West was better, though LeBron sliced through it. What does it say about the East?
The great point, because this is just more proof that the East is still the least. I think myself and others were beginning to think, you know what? The East has gotten, it's almost caught the West now. The East is really good now. No. Look at Giannis. Giannis they had the best team in the East in Milwaukee. They ran through the regular season. He's one superstar. With all due respect to Chris Middleton, who's a good player. You can't get through the West with one superstar. The last team to get through the West with one superstar was Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas, 2011.
Yeah.
They had Jason Kidd, who was older. But look at just to contend in the West, you need at least 2. Houston's got Westbrook and Harden. The Lakers have LeBron and AD. The Clippers had Kawhi and Paul George. Denver now's got Jokic and Jamal Murray. Poor Damian Lillard, he's a superstar, but he's the only one as good as CJ McCollum is. They can't compete. They would be really tough in the East. So this is just further evidence that the West is still light years ahead of the Eastern Conference. Now, next year will help with Brooklyn. But again, 2 superstars they'll have. That'll put them ahead of everybody else in the East.
No, you're starting to sound like Joy Taylor. Oh, well, you already got trophies out there in Brooklyn. So, you know, it is interesting. This was the year of the duo. All we heard duos. And, you know, I was thinking about the duos this morning, and Kawhi and Paul George, and Harden and Westbrook, and Kemba and Tatum, and just, it was Simmons and Embiid, and it's the league of duos. And yet one of them not only worked perfectly, LeBron AD, it worked instantly. I can remember Joy and I the first week, they played 3 games, and we were like, oh my God, they're brothers. And it just fits perfectly. Why do you think LeBron AD is such, and I loved LeBron and Wade, but I never thought it was an athletic fit. Same with Kyrie and LeBron. You know, who's going to carry the ball? Kyrie didn't like that LeBron would kind of take over the offense. Why do you think AD and LeBron work so perfectly?
Because their positions and the way they play complement each other. You've got the big man who needs a guard to kind of create stuff for him, even though he can shoot on the perimeter, handle it a little bit. And you've got the guard in LeBron who loves to pass the ball. So it's a perfect fit. Look, as good as LeBron and Wade were, as good as LeBron and Kyrie were, they both, in both cases, both were ball-dominant players. Wade literally had to back up and say, you know what? I'm going to be like 80% of the player I can be so we can win, and LeBron can run everything. Kyrie and LeBron, like you said, it frustrated Kyrie at times because LeBron would bring the ball up 60% of the time. Those teams won not because they were such great fits, but because LeBron and Kyrie and LeBron and Wade were just so good. Both 2 individual players who were so great that they were able to win championships. But Miami did not maximize itself. Overall, that was not an all-time great team. They won 2 in 4 years. When I remember the night LeBron said he's going to Miami, if somebody had said they're going to win 2 out of the next 4, I'd have been like, is that it? Most people would have said they're going to get at least 3. But they didn't because the fit wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Look at the great teams, Showtime Lakers, Magic, Worthy, Kareem, fit. Jordan, Pippen, fit. You know, Shaq, Kobe, they didn't fit off the court, but on the court, they fit. AD and LeBron fit. And that's why beyond this year, they can really do some damage and maybe win another championship or 2.
Yeah, you know, when LeBron wins a title, Chris, there are going to be a lot of people. They're going to say, LeBron, 5th finals with a 5th different head coach, right? The 10 finals, 5 different head coaches, 3 rings with 3 different. A lot of people going to like LeBron over MJ. Jeff Van Gundy said last night, career-wise, it's LeBron or Kareem. I mean, come on. I mean, you'd have to admit that, right?
What does that mean? And I love Jeff Van Gundy. I covered him when he coached the Knicks. Great respect for him. But that's a cop-out. Best career. We had Eddie Johnson, a former player, on the Odd Couple the other night. He said LeBron's the best all-around player. Those are just ways of getting away from the real crux of it. Who's the GOAT? There's one GOAT. With Tom Brady, do we say, well, Aaron Rodgers throws the best ball. He's the best, pass. No, there's one GOAT. It's Tom Brady in the NFL. It's Michael Jordan in the NBA. All this other stuff, best career. What does that mean? Honestly, LeBron, I'm tired of people acting like it's an insult to say LeBron's better than Magic, Kareem, Wilt, Bird, everyone else to play except Michael Jordan. It's not. But how has LeBron had a better career than Michael Jordan? Jordan won 6 championships. That's the ultimate goal. Oh, and individually, he led the league in scoring 10 straight years when he was healthy. Jordan essentially had 11 full seasons. Twice with his 13 years with Chicago, he came back from baseball, played like 17 games in the regular season. And then he was hurt his second year, played 17 or 18 games. So he really had 11 full seasons if you toss out when he's elderly in Washington. And in those 11 seasons, Colin, he won 6 championships. The longevity argument for LeBron is a positive in many ways, and he's going to have the records, longevity records. But it also can be a negative because I can say, well, hold on. In 17 years, he's only going to have 4 rings. Jordan got 6 and 11. So I don't see how LeBron's had a better career than Michael Jordan. Jordan just locked down the whole league. Nobody else can win. Other guys have won under LeBron's watch. Tim Duncan's won. Kevin Durant's won. Steph Curry's won. And they didn't all have to team up necessarily to do it. Dirk Nowitzki's won. Jordan, once he started winning, it's over. You won't win again unless I decide to go play baseball. Or unless I decide to retire again.
Well,
that's what he did.
Well, we could have 2 goats. A lot of people have 2 goats. They're called farmers. But maybe we'll get to a 2-goat conversation. A lot of passion with Chris Broussard. That's why I love him.
Second best? What is second best? My goodness.
Oh, okay. All right.